All right, today we're going to take a tour, a kind of architectural tour, of what is, without a doubt, the most incredible engine in the world, your heart. We're going to explore its structure from the outside in to really understand how this absolute powerhouse keeps you going every single second of every single day. So let's start with the most basic question of all. Where is your heart really? I mean, we all do it, right? We put our hand over our left chest. But is that the whole story? Let's find out. Okay, so take a look at this. Your heart is actually right in the center of your chest, in a little compartment called the mediastinum, tucked right there between your lungs. And that's why we always think of it as being on the left side, because about 2/3 of it tilts over to the left of your body's midline. Its pointy end, the apex, is what's pointing down and to the left. And just to put this in perspective, think of it resting on top of your diaphragm. You know, that huge muscle that helps you breathe? And right in front of it, acting like a shield, is your sternum, your breastbone. It's got a pretty prime, well-guarded piece of real estate in there. And for all the incredible work it does, it's actually surprisingly small. Seriously, go ahead and make a fist right now. That's pretty much the size of your own heart. For an adult male, it weighs around 300 grams, which is about the same as a baseball. A really small package with a mighty, mighty punch. So we found it, we know how big it is. Now let's start peeling back the layers. First up, we're going to meet the heart's personal bodyguard, a tough, protective sac called the pericardium. You know, the pericardium has this amazing, almost contradictory job. On one hand, it's like an anchor. It holds the heart firmly in place inside the chest, so it's not just bouncing around. But on the other hand, it also gives the heart total freedom to beat and contract as powerfully as it needs to. It protects and enables, all at the same time. So let's break this bodyguard down. It's got two main parts. First, there's the fibrous pericardium. That's the tough, leathery outer layer. Think of it like the heavy-duty casing on a really expensive piece of equipment. And then inside that, you have the serous pericardium, which is much thinner, way more delicate, and it's actually a double-layered membrane. Okay, this is where it gets really cool, and this is a classic analogy for a reason. To get how this double-layer thing works, just picture pushing your fist into a balloon that's not fully inflated. Your fist is the heart, the part of the balloon that's touching your fist. That's the inner layer, the visceral layer. And the part of the balloon on the outside, that's the parietal layer. And that tiny, tiny space between those two layers, that's the pericardial cavity. And it's filled with this thin film of lubricating serous fluid. And why does this matter? Well, this little bit of fluid is the secret sauce. It lets your heart beat, get this, over 100,000 times a day without rubbing itself raw. It's just a perfect self-oiling machine. All right, we've breached the outer defenses. We're past the bodyguard. Now we're getting into the heart of the matter. Literally, we're looking at the actual wall of the heart itself, which is made up of three very distinct, very functional layers. You've got the epicardium, the myocardium, and the endocardium. And a little tip here, epi means outer, myo means muscle, and endo means inner. So the names basically tell you exactly what they are and where to find them. And this image shows them perfectly. The epicardium is that thin outer skin. The endocardium is the super smooth lining on the very inside. And then bam, sandwiched right in the middle, the thick, powerful star of the show, the myocardium. That's the muscle doing all the heavy lifting. So let's look at the two skins here, the inner and the outer. The epicardium gives the heart a slippery outer surface. But wait a second, does that sound familiar? It should. It's the exact same thing as that visceral layer of the pericardium we just talked about. See how it all connects? Then on the inside, the endocardium provides this perfectly smooth lining so that blood can just glide through the chambers with almost zero friction. All right, for our last stop on this part of the tour, we're zooming in on the real powerhouse, that massive middle layer, the true engine of the heart, the myocardium. I mean, just look at that number. 95%. When we talk about the heart wall, we're really talking about muscle. It's almost all muscle, and that muscle is what's responsible for every single pump, every single beat. And this isn't just a big, dumb block of muscle either. The design here is absolutely genius. The muscle fibers are arranged in these bundles that literally swirl and spiral around the heart. So when it contracts, it doesn't just squeeze. It wrings itself out, kind of like you're wringing a wet towel. It's an unbelievably efficient way to push blood out with the most possible force. So think about the journey we just took. We figured out where the heart lives, we got past its protective sac, and we dove deep into the 3 layers of its wall. Every single layer, every fiber is just perfectly designed for its job. It's a masterpiece of engineering. But here's the thing, we've only talked about the walls. That leaves a huge question. How does this incredible engine actually get blood in, move it through its chambers, and then pump it out? Well, we'll get into that next time.